All right. Hello and welcome to my Market Open live stream. So it's been a little while since I've done these, a couple weeks. I had some obligations out of town, and for work, I was grading advanced placement exams, and my internet strength in the hotel just wasn't really up for streaming. So I couldn't really do that. Had some family travel as well. But I am back, and we'll be back to my regularly scheduled live streams. Definitely at Market Open for sure, and we'll be just kind of reviewing what I saw the night before, what I'm seeing going into the day, and today is one of those days where some of the flow reads from Friday are going to maybe like take some time to to take shape because we have a significant drop in kind of almost everything. But anyway, I'll talk about how I handle that in just a minute. But just a quick review of some things. So you can see SPY and QQQ had this big gap down overnight. And that was not entirely unexpected because crypto had such a disaster weekend that just keeps getting worse. I mean, you can see Ethereum down almost 14%, Bitcoin down almost 10%. So I don't have to tell you what that's going to do to crypto stocks, but I will go ahead and show you. And I watch listed coin today, but I don't know that it's exactly going to give us an entry that I'd be comfortable with because it's down. It's down almost 18%. So we are now retesting. You're getting close to retesting some of those lows from earnings. So it briefly fell down to like 41. So we'll see if we get all the way there, but we're definitely down in that territory, well below my lines that I typically use on coin. So you can see coin is a disaster. HUT down 14% pre-market, Mara 16%, Nile 14%. Wow, hard to believe this in the 20s. I had some good trades on Nile. I actually got in it with some people when it went back here and tested $1. So it's just kind of a no man's land at this point. Not really gonna touch it down there. Curious about some of these others. BKKT, Beto is the ETF. 16%. So that this little sector is going to get the worst of everything, and it's in a position where I don't really want to test any put or chase puts on it. Certainly, am not bullish at all to do calls. So kind of what do you do? Well, I think maybe wait to see if it gets a little bit of a bounce. That might give you an entry. Like I said, I had watch listed coin, but it's not at all going to retest this. My put trigger was 56 on it going into the day. So not really there. You can see the flow on it was bearish going into it. So anyone who held puts on coin overnight did very well. Okay, so let's take a look then at some of the other sectors to see what's going on with the indices I showed you. I mean, as you can imagine, anything fintech is going to be struggling this morning. You've got Square all the way down to 67 here, and even things like Visa down 3%. Traditional banks 2.67%, not too terrible. BAC down as well. BAC, I think you can play back to 35 when things kind of settle down a bit. But anyway, we'll just have to see what transpires with that. Now, a couple other sectors here, and then I'll get into some flow reads in just a minute. Okay, so metals and materials. Gold did really well on Friday, and we can see gold stocks are dipping a bit in the pre-market, and HYMC is kind of a volatile one. Sand was up earlier when I looked at it, but okay, it's back down too. All right, so gold is down, not very much. Silver looks to be down as well. Yeah, silver way down. Okay, so then we go into consumer defensive, and what I do on a day like this is, I look for how individual sectors are reacting to the selling pressure, because sometimes you will have these little pockets of the market that are isolated from it, and I don't actually think that that's happening today. I mean, consumer defensive stocks, yeah, I mean they're not down as much as some of the other stocks. 1% on Walmart. So you could potentially see a rally in some of these, and especially kind of your heavy hitters, more traditional types of consumer defensive, like Coke. And if Coke goes under 60, I'll be very interested in that. Last time it went under 60 was kind of when Target was having its issues, like when Target and Walmart had their earnings and they all collapsed, and Coke fell down here. You can see the bounce back was very fast. So I'll be looking for Coke to get down to this level again. And this is kind of the theme for me today, is really to just wait and see how some of these stocks react to the selling pressure at open. I'm not in a huge rush to get into anything. I swung some QQQ puts over the weekend, so those are going to be way up at open. Pretty much will meet my goal with those, and I'm not too anxious to just jump in. I just have some levels and plans around those levels that I'll be looking at. You can see oil down today as well. So it's pretty widespread, this market sell-off. We have like uranium, for example, is significantly down this morning, which will be useful for later, because I think those have a lot of promise to them. UNG, not really down very much, so natural gas seems to be doing okay. If we look at futures, yeah, natural gas futures are pretty flat. Oil futures are down a bit, but really it's tech and the Dow that are struggling the most. Okay, so that's just kind of my quick check of charts and things. We get into the flow, and I want to actually maybe start with some of the flow alerts that we had. Get them off of here. So what we had going into close last week, just going back to this, we did see quite a bit of bearish activity. If you recall, on Friday, we did get a little bit of relief rally in the last hour, and then that all just collapsed. And some names that show up here, you see like Upstart as an example, and SE puts. Yeah, the Chinese ADRs. So they actually were doing okay. Had a pretty nice week last week, and they open. They're going to open significantly down. You've got BABA down almost 5%. Got SE down almost 6%. XPEV and Neo, not too bad. Get back to my 3-minute chart. So yeah, so they all kind of had this gap down in pre-market, and we'll see how they want to react to some of these levels. But you can see the follow through on some of this flow from last time. Definitely, these bearish trades are going to really do well. And all right, so go into the alerts. See what we have here. So yeah, I mean there were quite a few bearish alerts that came through end of day. In hindsight, it's always kind of like, okay, well, that makes sense. I mean, at the time, might not think much of it. And again, there are some bullish alerts as well, so it's always going to be mixed. But I think kind of what I look for are some of the names that are showing up. So I'm seeing quite a few airlines, and this coin alert's going to be through the roof this morning. CVS, Love. Here's Redbox. So the whale algorithm is kind of catching up to the whole Redbox craze, and this is one stock that is obviously doing very well, up another 28%, 40% on Friday. So you definitely would want to be careful chasing this. There are going to be some opportunities to scalp it. The volatility on those options is insanely high. So that means that the premium on them is going to move very fast. You're probably not going to get like an IV crush. It's not like earnings, because what happens with implied volatility is that when the uncertainty on something is gone, then the implied volatility drops and the value of the contracts drops. And that's why after earnings, that event happens, and then the option prices can collapse on you. But with Redbox, it's just gonna stay up there. And what that essentially means is that you definitely would want to take profits pretty quickly, because any move in the price is going to drastically move the price of those options. So you just want to kind of keep that in mind. The whale's been really interested in Nikola lately, and so a lot of bearish alerts on it. But I want to take a minute to kind of look into what's happening with that one. So let me see what I can find, because I am going to be interested in it once it kind of bottoms out. But I don't think that will be today. I think it has some room to fall for sure. But let's just see here. Okay, and yeah, so you can see the volume, and on Friday it was very high, which is why the whale algorithm picked up on it twice. And we can see it's overwhelmingly bearish. So what then might my plan be for a stock like Nikola that is struggling, that is existing here on this kind of these worst of market days. So it went down almost 9% on Friday, and it's down another 5% today. And if we zoom out and look at the bigger picture on it, yeah, we can see it popping right down here to an area where it has been bouncing before. So the 570s. Below that is 5. And go to the day charts. And this is a familiar chart pattern that you see, where in mid-May, like leading up to mid-May, the market sold off drastically, and then we had this little rebound, little rally into June, and now kind of we're heading back down. And the big question for a lot of the stocks is, are they going to test those May lows? Some of them already are, and Net stands out as an example, and Coin that are pretty much there. So that's a spot I would look for them to possibly bounce. If they fail there, you kind of got to come up with a new plan. A lot of it's going to depend on what I see in option flow. But what I'm getting at with Nikola is this is now an interesting stock to me, and I'm not looking to buy it today, but it's in a zone where I think it has some potential. So we can see here on the day chart, if you look at the way that these, all this indecision here and the bottom of these wicks were all around the price that we're at right now. So 575, and certainly could come back here, 556, and then you can see that it did fall the way to 5. So 5 is sort of the bottom line in the sand on it. All bets are off under that. But here at like 570, 575, I am probably going to look for it to fall a bit more from here, maybe to 550. But then I'm going to look for it to reclaim this 575 level. And I think from there, you can catch a similar move to what we saw last time once it finally does hit an uptrend. And all of this is kind of nothing compared to where it came from. But again, as with many stocks, this outrageous pump here is completely irrelevant for what we're doing. We are in this area here. And I think best case scenario, you get maybe back into this channel back here where you get, over 8 and bumping a little above that. And then you can see it broke out and, went all the way to test 12. That's certainly feasible. I mean, that could happen. And that would be 100% from where we are now. But at this moment, what I'm interested in, again, is just we're at a key level now. There's probably going to be a lot more selling pressure in the market today, so it's probably going to fall more. But that's okay. I don't care about that. What I care about is seeing it retest that level at 575, and if it has some momentum in options and that TA lines up, then I'm going to be really interested in it. So that's what I think a day like today can be good for is planning. Let's see these stocks fall to some of these levels and see what they want to do once they get there. Lemonade is one that I've been really interested in. I've traded several times from this, in the 18s, traded it back over 20. And now we can see it's fallen all the way to 1720. And my put trigger on it was 1750. So this is one that it's fallen in pre-market, but it might still be playable. I'm going to look for a retest of my put trigger, and would possibly enter puts on it from there. Longer term, I'll be looking for it to reverse and reestablish itself around one of these lines. Probably this one, this 1840, and then once it gets there, it can go back to testing 20, breaking it, heading to 21. Works for short swings, day trades, and so I'll be interested in that. But again, it's another one of those. You can see the same thing I just mentioned. We have this sell off in May, and some recovery, and then a sell off again. And is it going to break through, or are some of these bounces going to repeat themselves? That is what I'm looking for. And it's a very simple way to trade. I'm not chasing momentum. I'm just going to wait and see if these stocks do indeed want to come back to and test some of these levels. All right, so those are two that were definitely interesting to me. Looking at some other things in the flow here, and in the alerts. All right, so Amazon, Amazon obviously after the split has, is a lot more tradable in terms of the price of the options. So here's Amazon and here's Disney, and I'll actually take a look at both of those. Okay, so Amazon, let's see what's going on with Amazon. Okay, so just removing from our consideration the 610 contracts, we can see that this 110 put for 617 had a lot of bearish activity. The call here was mixed, and $70p, kind of ridiculous price there, although that will go up a little bit today. And let's see, yeah. All right, so flow's kind of mixed on it. There are definitely, there's some cross trades. Those are neutral. A little bit of bearish activity. So nothing really dramatic stands out in the option flow. But given what we're seeing, so the option flow is kind of mixed going into it. Nothing really dramatic there. But as we see it here, down 4%, we kind of wonder, or I wonder, is this going to test 100? And that's a key psychological level. It equates to 2,000 from the pre-split price. And, we can see kind of on the day chart that this has been there before, or close, kind of close to it. So again, another stock gonna test those May lows, and we'll see if it gets there, if it wants to get there. But that'll be one to watch as well. So Amazon around the 100 level, definitely interested in that. And then we get to Disney. Disney's fallen below 100, down at 96. So this is one that has already broken through its May lows. So I think that to me is the dominant narrative in the market early this week. is what's going to test those May lows, what's going to break through it, and then we just sort of wait and see what happens next. Are they going to bounce? If the selling continues and that selling momentum, keeps ramping up, I'm just going to really be patient and try to wait for some confirmation of a potential reversal. Some stocks I trade a lot are fading this morning. DDOG, Dash again is kind of playing around with these May lows. I mentioned Net earlier. I'm sure Net is struggling. Yeah, so Net's kind of in no man's land. I was kind of researching Net a bit yesterday. I think 42 is definitely a distinct possibility on Net. So I'll be watching for that. But again, this is a good example of what I was talking about, where this is completely broke through that may sell off. So it's going to need to find its footing. You got to go back to some older levels potentially, so we can see the time in which Net in 2020 was under $40. That certainly could happen again. So that's a level I'd be looking for it to hold. So 42, 40, and we'll see what happens. See what happens with that, and get into some of the smaller caps. You can see Hood's breaking through those May lows, hitting those all-time lows again. So that's not really surprising. And HIMX, this is a semiconductor that always is interesting to me. And you can see like this one is really showing some strength. Let me get my lights on. So HIMX is showing some strength under 10 in these the mid to upper 9s, and I'm really looking for it to confirm 10, because once it does that, I'd like to trade it in this channel again. It's kind of 10 to 12 zone, and so we'll see. We'll see if it wants to get back into that. Certainly, probably not going to happen today. But the fact that it's not collapsing and selling off dramatically is notable to me for a stock that I follow. And there goes DocU. So pain is not over for DocU, down to $61. Just amazing. Definitely one of the poster children of the market sell-off since November. So this is just heading to new lows. Broke right through these May lows at 64. So again, I wouldn't try to catch. I'm not going to try to catch a knife on it, but it's a stock that very much interests me when it does, start to potentially turn around. So I will be looking for that. I don't think we see much of a reversal today, but anything can happen. Just something to watch in the flow. Adobe has earnings this week. So, if Adobe enters earnings at these May lows, that's going to be very interesting, and not a stock I'd want to play through earnings, but in the aftermath, I definitely think there could be some potential there. So so today I don't have a lot of bright spots for you. A lot of bullish setups that I think are just gonna go. I do think that it's certainly worth watching oil and gold for potential upside today, because they tend to be a little bit detached from the market in general. Gold sometimes can run inverse to tech. So I would, just keep an eye on futures in gold and silver. You can see they've just, they were doing fine overnight, and then they've kind of collapsed. So again, I'm not really going to make a move on these until I see some more signs of life there. And same with oil. On look at oil futures on the hourly, they had this drop. So still very, very high, of course, but we could definitely see a pullback in the oil stocks, and I'll just be looking for them to bounce off of some previous levels. I should have something on Oxy here. So Oxy, Oxy's not going to probably fall to 56 today, which is one of my lines on it. But we'll see what that wants to do. I do have some lines on Devon that are a little more recent. So Devon's well below my put trigger. Going to look for potentially a retest of that. Maybe we'll see. But so again, not a lot bullish to say, and I want to just see how these stocks react. Going to see them pull back to my levels, and then I'll kind of make my plans from there. Okay, so everybody trade safely today, and try to avoid chasing puts, or getting faked out by any kind of little rally. So I'm not saying don't trade. Sounds like I'm saying that. Of course, I'm not giving advice. Do whatever you want, but I just patience will pay off. So be patient, have a plan, have some levels in mind, and you'll do fine. So everybody have a great day. I will see you on the next one.